No comment. Well, it was just Lini. Anyway, let's talk about household finances, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about especially debt when it comes to the household, how we deal with it, how we acquire it, who pays it. Are we a unit when it comes to debt, my guys? We're in studio with Stephen Ruhohi, who is a credit analyst, and he'll talk to us about how we borrow, why we borrow, how we plug the holes in our budgets, and of course, if there's healthy borrowing for a household, and also if debt is matrimonial, kama property.
Yeah.
If the good things are joint.
Yes.
Umeamua ku disrupt vows.
Assets and liabilities.
Yes, and liability.
At the dissolution of a marriage, you divide the assets and you divide the liabilities.
There's my answer, I suppose.
I don't know.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Karibu. Before anything, Zaro will share a quote with you. Kindly see if it resonates with you, what it says to you, alafu tutaingia maneno ya household borrowing habits.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, sorry,
Yes.
I'm so tickled. When they say your money is our money, and your debt?
Oops.
The
I didn't sign
husbands.
up
Who
for
may
that
disrupt vows.
one. Didn't sign up for that one.
Didn't sign up. Sorry. The quote is by Ali Mazrui, and he once said, democracy without ethics is like a body without a soul. Democracy without ethics is like a body without a soul. What comes to mind when you hear that?
So I think checks and balances. So anything that is not regulated or tempered by something else can potentially get out of hand. That's how I understand it. So too much democracy could be a bad thing. Yes. That's how I
You
see
say
it.
too much democracy can be a bad thing.
Yes.
Okay. It's really good.
You never experienced it?
No,
Never
that's why I love it. I love the...
I can give you an example.
An example, yes.
Just because many people vote for someone does not necessarily mean they make the same choice.
So, right.
Or the right choice.
the right choice.
Or the right choice. Again, it's subjective, but that's my view.
It's a good view.
Yeah.
One day somebody will come and shake a mic, and maybe that person will be Stephen Ruhohi.
I think so.
Come and say that we should have weighted voting. Not all votes should be
Equal.
bear the same weight.
Allah.
I like that.
How do we weigh? This
I like the threading. A lot of households are being pushed to borrow.
Yes.
Is it a bad thing?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. So I like to look at things in context. That people are borrowing indicates something is amiss or they are filling in a gap for something else. So I think there's a picture Nation had put in the newspapers a while back. If you just zoom in on a shot and you only see one part, when you zoom out and you see everything, then it connects. So let me connect.
See the whole picture.
The whole picture, and that matters. So let's contextualize that so it makes sense.
Okay.
It points to, in my view, a number of things that are happening. First, inflation is still biting at people. So the cost of things has continued to skyrocket. Even if it has eased, things are still expensive. And a good measure is look at 1,000 shillings. How much does 1,000 bob do? Compare that with 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Don't even go 5 years ago. I don't think it's fair.
It's not. It's not.
Okay, so inflation has gone up. Look at people's incomes.
Yeah.
When was the last time you got a pay rise? If you were lucky enough to get a pay rise. Unfortunately, for some people, it's been bad or it's been difficult. They've had to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
So think about it. Remember, let me use mwalimu wa math. Remember when we were balancing equations? So the cost of goods has gone up, income has stayed flat or gone down. That equation is unbalanced. So it creates a gap. And that's the gap that Kenyans need to fill, and they're filling it with borrowing. Yes.
But then where does it become a concern? Because the whole idea is that people are borrowing. And we talked about this at the very beginning of the show. Paycheck to paycheck is what it's become. Even people who are employed, I think it used to be people who are either in transition or people who have some kind of instability. But there is obviously a rise. It's short-term loans, but it's usually like for household, just to get by bills, etc. So when does it get to a place where borrowing at a household level, the red flags begin to show? And what are the factors that bring that?
Let's call them symptoms. I think you called a big one. If you can't afford to put food on your plate and you have to borrow, that's a really big red flag, because it gets to a place where you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. So if we zoom out a little bit, there could be many things, but let me look at it this way. If it's a question of, let's even look at some of the reasons they've told us that have caused this to happen. Emergencies. Imagine a loved one falls ill and they just need to be attended to. And they turn to you, they're like, Janet, Mariam, you guys are working. We need 5,000 bob. X has been admitted. What do? You borrow.
Yep.
And if you don't have, you turn to your circle. So I think there are so many inflationary pressures, or so many things are coming at people, and it's just making them turn to borrowing. And unfortunately, the access to credit is also quite a lot. So without a plan, it's very easy to go and borrow without really thinking of how you'll pay it back.
Yeah.
In my view, I think that's where it starts to get dicey.
Okay.
That is where it starts to get dicey.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is an open conversation, and the idea is to be as realistic as possible, right? So then people will say, you know what, don't borrow. Like we've actually had a guest here say, you know what, do not borrow for especially anything that is lifestyle maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for a business sometimes, but otherwise save. Your view on that. And then the cost of borrowing and how unfairly it applies across the board, because not everybody gets the same rates, depending on who you're asking from. But let's start from that. The idea of not borrowing for anything lifestyle related. And lifestyle here is not just luxury, but day-to-day, like food and rent and school fees.
100%. So in the spirit of making it contextual, let's also say, depending on how this credit is used, it can be a vice or a virtue. It can be a good thing or a bad thing. Let's start by saying that. Then there's what you said, good debt or bad debt. So I'll give you an example. Just because you qualify for 10,000 shillings on an X app or from X bank application doesn't mean you should necessarily take all the amount of money. So first things first, just take what you need. And then number two, people get excited about the opportunity of taking the money. They don't think about how I will repay. Let me use an example. Imagine your bank tells you, hey, you qualify for a loan of 2 million shillings.
Yeah.
But you only did 500,000. How many people have the self-control, sit back and say, okay, let me just take it. I know I'll pay it. I know I'll do this deal. I think the temptation is also a lot.
Yeah.
The other thing we say is, look at the cost of borrowing. I love cars. Imagine you're shopping for a car. You have to look at different things. What are the running costs or the maintenance costs? What's the purchase price? Similarly, even with credit, you have to look at different lenders, and then you have to look at how much they're actually charging. So if you ask me, depending on a person, first of all, if you need money, look at all the options you have. Then look at what are you borrowing for. If it's borrowing for Sharia to go to cost because 12th is coming up, that would feel good, but when you have to pay it back in a month with interest, I'm not sure it's going to feel the same. Instagram is going to kill it, but Instagram is not going to pay it back.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We've looked at that. Then there's the cost and how unevenly it applies. So I don't know if this is true, but yeah, the better access you have to like the financial systems, to markets, etc., the better rates you often have. If you're borrowing from a Shylock, an undisclosed app, then they're just arbitrary. Is that true?
First of all, don't borrow from a Shylock.
Yeah.
If they don't break your legs.
Who's a Shylock?
Yeah, define.
So a Shylock is a money lender who charges, they've got certain characteristics. They charge a lot of what you'd call exploitative interest rates. This is where you find the interest is actually more than the principal. And then even the collection practices are, what's the word? They are vicious. They are too much. These are the guys who will break your leg. I joked about it, but these are the guys who will come and they will sweep your house. They'll come and clean everything out, including the kids. They don't care. They'll just take everything. That's a Shylock.
Okay. So the only difference between a Shylock and every other lender
Is the breaking of bones.
No, not even that. It could just be the fact that the interest rate will not go above the principal. And this is because now there's a law that bars that from happening. So before the Induplum law came into effect, all lenders were Shylocks. Essentially. Because I borrow from a financial institution, from a bank. I'm going to put my house as collateral. I don't repay, they will take the house, which means that they'll kick me and my family out of my occupied premises.
Yeah.
And they will leave me out on the streets. They're Shylocks.
To this day, mortgages, by the time you're done paying it out, you have paid twice the value of the house at time of purchase, at least.
You see?
So, yeah.
So, those are Shylocks.
If you even qualify for the
If
mortgage.
yeah.
I don't think all lenders are Shylocks because regulation matters. It's like saying, let me look for a ridiculous example. It's like saying everyone behind the vehicle is a driver. Not necessarily. Some people just learned how to drive through SCOD, but they don't know the rules and the regulations or what to do when they're navigating.
So a Shylock is an unlicensed lender.
I think you could say that. I would agree with that. Yes.
But the characteristics of all lenders is the same. I lend you today, Stephen, you don't repay, I'm going to come after you. An arm and a leg. Right?
I may do it through a court
I will
order,
come from my
or I may do it with a bat.
Yes.
Either way,
My
I'm
pounds
covered.
worth.
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think all lenders are Shylocks. And this is, remember how I talked about shopping? You have to look at all the different options you have. So imagine we have a view on the other side who's stuck and they need to borrow money. Let's bring it to the ground. First things first, look at who you're borrowing from. If you're really stuck, CBK has licensed, Central Bank of Kenya has licensed 153 credit providers. As a start, tuanzie hapo. The number two, look at things like what happens when you default, because life happens. Are you able to reach out to them and then you negotiate a payment plan? Okay. If they're charging a late fee, how much? You know those terms and conditions that nobody reads?
Yeah.
Okay, let me reframe. Some people read, but most don't.
Yeah.
It's King James met Shakespeare, and then we are supposed to understand.
Yeah.
Even the framing is just difficult. Then away from that, fine. So they're clear on no hidden fees, what you're going to get. Ideally, the good lenders will tell you, if you're late, we'll charge a late fee of X, say 8%, and that's it, nothing else. And then they'll also tell you what the other steps they'll take is. We'll list you in the CRB if you don't pay, and that's where it ends. Those are the things you want to look out for. We can blame the industry, but let's also be fair. The customer who's signing up also has a role to play. In my view, even the biggest role to play.
Yeah.
So before we say the industry is wrong, let's empower ourselves, because I'm big on this thing of, oh, things are bad, but what can I do?
Okay. From observation, just coming back to household borrowing, is there such a thing as household borrowing in Kenya? Like, to what degree? Do we have individuals in a household borrowing versus a household borrowing?
Nikisema, haya, nimechukua mkate na maziwa kwa duka.
Ni sisi tumechukua ama ni wewe?
Ni sisi tumechukua money. That's honest.
Inategemea na value system ya familia.
That's the point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, because it has to come from somewhere where there's an agreement,
Right.
and whether spoken or unspoken, that if we delegate some of these decisions to you. If you go to the shop and, chukua mkate na maziwa, we know that, you're doing it for the betterment of us. And if I go and I take our title deed and I go and borrow,
These are very different levels of debt, Eric.
Yes.
120 versus 1.2 million. Hey,
Yes.
But essentially the same premise. Yeah, for the betterment of the home,
of the
family.
whole family. So is it a family loan or is it an individual loan?
I think there's a concept like household borrowing. Let me qualify that.
Okay.
First of all, guess who is the largest lender in Kenya?
Largest lender in Kenya? Neighbor.
Hustler Fund?
Sakos.
Safaricom.
Shop.
It's a shopkeeper. That's actually where you go. If it's not bread and talipa end month. Think about it. If anyone knows if you're creditworthy or not, it's your shopkeeper. If you have an emergency, the guy will sort you out faster than anyone else. And they know you. There's this trust-based thing.
Yeah.
Let's take it a step further. I think household borrowing depends on who's doing it. I'll give you two examples. Typically, men have had more access to credit than women. And if you look at women who are empowered and get access to credit, how they use their money or how they use that credit they've borrowed goes to things like fees. When a woman is empowered and she knows how to borrow and who to borrow from, kids stay in school, 3 meals are availed, they're able to even plan for medical cover, and even things like, basically, even an emergency fund.
Food, shelter, clothing are sorted.
I would say so. So in my view, I'd say household borrowing actually comes down to the woman. In an ideal situation, both parties should have that conversation and agree how much debt we are taking on. But life is anything but ideal.
Life is anything but ideal.
So in many cases where there's the agreement is basically on the kind of level of trust that you have amongst yourselves. So she'll be a member of a chama, she will, borrow from that, she'll be a member of this and the other, she'll borrow from that, I'll be a member of my own thingies, I'll borrow from that. But the expectation here is that we'll be open. That there's no point where I will take a loan and not come and declare that I have taken a loan and here are the proceeds of that loan and this is what I was thinking that we do with the money. Now, is that what is prevalent in this country? Or is it the other way where I'll take a loan, I'll not declare, I'll pay school fees, ile ingine kidogo nitarudishia mwili shukrani, with my boys and so on and so forth. She'll take a loan, she'll do the same. She will buy curtains, she'll take the children to school, and kidogo pia atatumia kwa matumizi yake. But I am not aware how much she has taken. She's not aware how much I have taken. Is that a household debt?
I don't think it's as black and white as we're making it. Vitu kwa ground different. Let's just see how it is. What tends to happen is everyone will borrow individually, but the consequences will hit everyone equally. Yes. I think that's when it starts to get really murky. Yeah. Imagine somebody defaults, you're all embroiled into that story. Remember that example of the auctioneers coming to take the car, the sofa, and the curtains?
Yeah.
So if somebody took a loan to buy curtains, I know curtains are important, but I don't think you should take a loan for them. Versus say something like education, to keep the kids in school. This is where you go back to good debt versus bad debt. It still goes back to their fundamentals. If you get the basics right, I think the rest takes care of itself. So let's go back to, is it good debt or bad debt? It's good debt because we're opening a small kiosk. We'll use it to buy stock. From the proceeds of that, we'll make some money. The biggest side hustle in Kenya is farming. People are buying seeds, input, doing some farming. Luckily, the rains come through. You have a bumper harvest. You make some money. You pay off your debt. That's ideally how it should be. Kikiumana, when nothing seems to work, now that's when it starts to get dicey. And when things go bad, people aren't even talking to each other. Unfortunately, what we tend to see is what's exaggerated when everything else has just come crumbling down. So I would say household debt, it's not household borrowing. I'll say it's the two people in a household each taking their own loans and not talking to each other.
And not collaborating.
Exactly. And that's a prevalent habit in many households in Kenya. That's where I'm heading with this. Right?
Anecdotally, you're asking him if that's the prevalent.
I'm asking, but also from observation.
Right.
That appears to be. Because many of the times that you hear there squabbles is because alichukua deni na atukujua sasa vitu zimechukuliwa, you know, and so on and so forth. So how do we then start addressing that to avoid such?
Right. And as you get to how to address that, when you think of a household and household borrowing, we've started small with, start small with like daily things, talk about the school fees and things like that, then go into bigger things like building, buying land, mortgages and things like that. At what point do you think you should inform a family member, a partner, that I'm borrowing? Is it at the point of, kwa Mama John, nimeacha deni ya 200? Or is it at the point of, I've taken a 20-meter mortgage?
I would say kwa Mama John, but that's just me. He's speaking to a reality that's very different.
From a point of, hatuna chakula. What are our options? Enda kwa Mama John. Wacha niende kwa Mama John. I think.
Yes. I like that framing. So let's see. I like Mama John because at least the house will eat. Nobody will sleep hungry. And also, you can only borrow so much from Mama John from the kiosk. I think the levels of credit they would give you are reasonable. Even if you default kidogo, getting back on track is fine. Let's look at the source of funds. If it's short term, someone is more likely to go to a digital credit provider. Long term, you'll probably go to a bank, a SACCO, where they give you 1 year. Banks go up to 7 years or so. SACCOs is savings times 3 plus guarantors, so depending on what it is. However, I think they can be symptomatic. If someone is struggling to balance the small short-term loan, the same thing could easily switch over to the bigger loans. In my view, I think this calls for communication because you guys are in this together. You have to communicate. You know, money is emotional as much as it is mental. And unfortunately, we make emotional decisions and then we rationalize them. So even borrowing, being ambitious by just saying, at least communicate so there are no surprises. Right. If you're going to use a title deed to take a loan, you need to know how much risk you're taking on. Right. There comes a part of how much, there's this level of risk, are we comfortable with it? And then also let me ask, what do you want so badly that you're willing to put your title deed or your house at stake? These are conversations that need to happen at that household level.
Do you coach people?
No, I don't, but I observe.
You observe?
Yes.
You sound like a coach.
You should.
In a good way, you should.
In a good way.
Yeah. How does short-term borrowing impact long-term financial planning. But you want to go with that, and then he comes to...
Yeah, no, that one, because what I was going to ask was also more or less, it was very close to that. Mobile money, what it has done to our borrowing habits.
Okay,
like that,
we can start with that.
Accessibility factor.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it just makes you feel like it's endless.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between going to a bank, writing, proving.
It's basically Mama John now, instead of giving you sugar, she's giving you cash.
That's it.
And a car.
And a car.
And a mortgage. Well.
So maybe start with that and then go into how that affects long-term
finances.
So again, just keeping it real, because it is what it is. Kenya, if you look at some of the lenders, the oldest lenders I think are 11 years old. So we've had access to credit for 11 years. So what happens when people see business X is making money in this space? Everybody gets in on that space. Think about it. When you open a car wash and I see Latif is just cashing in, I'll open a car wash. Even worse, I'll open it next to him.
Yeah.
And then if he charges 300 bob, I'll charge 250. It's just inherently how we are as Kenyans.
Yes.
The point I'm trying to make is Kenyans have access. If you want money, you can get it too easily. Think about it. From any 5 apps, easily you can get, one of my colleagues makes a joke and says, if I get your phone, I can borrow almost $1 million just from 5 apps. Think about it. Banks are even giving you up to 1 million, and that's just on the app without factoring. Unsecured. That's crazy. Even me, I'm like, I would get confused. Instagram might look appealing. I might decide I need to upgrade my car. Or my curtains, God forbid. Okay, so let's go back to it.
What do you have against curtains?
He said he's a car guy at the beginning.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So
he made it very clear. Okay, go ahead.
Just making sure,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
dramatic effect and to make sure everyone feels included, car guys and curtain lovers. So we have access, but look at what has happened. Access is high, but financial health is low. So people got so much money, but you don't know what to do. I like to use this analogy of, we went to school to learn arithmetic, to learn how to read, to write, to calculate. Through my 844 system, nobody ever told me when you get a salary, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So in my view, financial literacy is relatively low. We don't think about it, we don't prioritize it. So what happens when you give people access to money? We try X. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. And I think that's where there's a literacy problem. Then on the other side, because it's a two-part equation, I think even the lenders have a role to play. They can do more in terms of financial health. And there are signs, like for example, if let's say Steve has 10 different loans, why would a lender give him an 11th loan? Because there'll be indicators. I don't know if everybody checks on CRB to see if someone is potentially over-indebted, which is why we keep going back to regulation. So any of the licensed lenders by CBK will make these checks. This is how, it's not ideal, but there's something you can do. So the bigger problem is financial health is low, but access is high.
When you say that, the lenders that are licensed by CRB, they can go check, is it in their best interest though? Because they just want to make interest from you. It's a business, it's bottom line. Yes, they can see Mariam has borrowed from Janet and Eric and 8 others, and she will borrow from an 11th, and she'll borrow from an 11th, and that's interest for them. So why not give her?
So you're looking at one part of that equation. So you're looking at interest. Remember, they have capital at risk, right? So imagine if Mariam defaults entirely. Even that interest they were hoping for, imeenda. Unless they recoup the interest at the point of disbursement, which doesn't even make sense. Like you borrow 10K and then they take their interest up front. So even for them, well, you laugh, but it happens.
We laugh through pain.
Hustler Fund wasn't doing something.
No,
not
that is
interest.
savings.
Not interest, but savings.
Savings,
Yeah.
Savings and pension.
Savings and pension.
Yes.
Go on.
So I would say, to a lender, you're looking at, and different lenders have different values. Some people are keen on helping Mama Mboga, giving people a path to economic freedom, at least a stepping stone. Think about the short-term loans we are talking about. If Mama Mboga just needs 2,000 shillings to go to Marikiti and buy fruits, sell them, and then make her 1,000 bob spread and then pay her bills and continue, she can't go to a bank and tell her, look, I have M-Pesa, I have Pochi la Biashara. They'll be like, ideally not. The other thing, the people who have access to credit would be, let me reframe, the informal sector does not have as much access to, say, credit, say like from a bank, from a SACCO, etc. What do they do? Think about it. It's graduation season. We've got young people who are graduating. You don't know if a job is going to come through, but you want to try something.
Yeah.
Maybe Steve decides I'll go borrow a bike from Latif or from Mariam, and then go to a digital lender, get 3K, fuel the thing, do my border rides, make some money. It's the informal sector that I think is one that ends up getting caught in this space, where again, literacy is low. Who do you ask? I ask my fellow border rider, he has no clue what's going on. Who do you ask? Who do you turn to? And you're just like, we wing it. We'll just go. We'll pray and fast.
Even before you answer about how that affects long-term financial planning, talk to us about financial literacy. It also sometimes sounds very exclusive, right? You have to sign up for a course, which it's okay to do that. But how do you mainstream financial literacy so that, you know, then it begins to shift the habit from there? What have you seen that can work? Just very low-hanging fruit.
Let's call it grandmother's advice. Just because you're carrying an umbrella doesn't mean you're pessimist. It will rain. At some point, it will rain. So here's my example. We all know, live within your means. Everybody knows that. It's Mwalimu Math taught us. Remember when we were counting with our fingers and removing pebbles and separating them? It still comes down to that. Live within your means. If you have X, you have to live within X. What I'm trying to say is, before you borrow, think about how you will repay. And then what do you need? Do you need it now? There's this concept of delayed gratification. And we are all human. You're having a bad day and you see something nice and you're like, let me splurge. I mean, after all, it's been tough. We survived COVID. We survived this year. It's December. Yo, I'm tired. Yes, so it's easy. We get the human impulse. But if I break it down, I'd say first of all, live within a budget. Look at how much you have and then live within those means. Try and manage those habits that self-sabotage. If I'm a spender, then I know that's the thing I need to check for. Versus say someone who's a saver where they primarily will hoard some well.
But some people don't know. Like, sorry to interrupt.
People don't know what?
No, I'm talking about
you don't know yourself.
If you're a spender.
Like that well. Like, I know what you're saying. And I want to agree with you. That's a question I wanted to ask. Because sometimes people, again, you said emotional, then rationalize. And in that loop, you're caught up with that kind of a false sense of self that you actually don't even know the true sense of self. That's philosophical.
I love it. Yes, I love it.
You think because I mean, I have survived like this, that this is then for who I am. Because you got away with it once, twice, thrice. You live this kind of life. You believe that this is where you belong.
Yep.
And these things of to live within your means. I have lived within this means.
How Janifungia nyumba so now?
And you also say
means that this is who I am.
Right. And you also say people don't learn, right? We do school and we are told work. Nobody says this is how to. So in a sense, most of us didn't really have financial literacy. Now we're seeing easy access, which is hurting people. So what does financial literacy look like to them? Without belaboring, Steve is like, I already said, it's about living within your means. But you know what I mean?
I feel like we might need 3 shows to unpack what financial literacy means. So simply put, let's say, imagine we have someone who's watching and they've just graduated. We're in the era of AI. Just go to your favorite AI platform and just ask, how do I manage my money? Just type in where you start. Kenya has very good internet access. Like there are tools at our disposal.
That's fair.
Even the border guy, we all have somebody we look up to. Maybe someone who we feel is killing it or is doing something well financially. Let's demystify this concept. So if Mariam, I'm seeing like your house is in order, whenever I have an emergency, you just seems like not grass looking greener, but actually being greener, then look for these guys who are winging and then try and get advice from them. After all, so you went to school and you were given the power to learn. Why are we stopping at that?
I like those examples. It's a quick search, to be fair.
It'll give you theory.
It'll give you theory, but you can ask it practical steps.
Same theory that Mwalimu Math gave you. Live within your means. How do I live?
You can ask it, break it down for me, make it granular, chatty. Talk to me about
Here's something that I don't know where did I hear this or learn this. But the live within your means things, because we're human and we are prone to living within your means is also knowing your priorities 100%. Financially, right? And even your non-priorities that you still want to spend on, and that's okay. But as opposed to not just being like, every day, every month I overdraft, every month I borrow, it's figuring out maybe what I don't care about. Maybe me simtua luku, and that's fine. I don't need to buy new clothes every month. But you know what? I like to eat well.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to drive a car, but I want to live in a mansion. I don't necessarily care about the kind of car I drive, but I want to live in a mansion. I want to focus on my education. I'm not so worried about like travel right now. Those, I don't know if
priorities.
That makes sense.
I feel like that makes sense. It's pragmatic and it's sensible. So now how does that feed into long-term financial planning? This borrowing that we're doing, the short-term borrowing and the long-term implications.
First of all, I like that. Let me react to that. There's two parts. We know what to do. That we don't do it is another thing entirely. Those are two different things. You know how to live within your means. You know how to do a budget. You draw it up, you balance it, it looks nice. If you're an Excel guru, you make it look nice. But if you don't follow it, what good is it? Execution beats any plan that is never implemented. So, Latif, I hear what you're saying. We have the knowledge. Sometimes it just comes down to doing. The man in the mirror sometimes ends up being your biggest enemy. Then let's even talk about what you're saying. If luku is your thing, if travel is your thing, but I love travel as well. Look at that budget, just put a line for it. I enjoy traveling, I'll set aside for every 10 bob that comes in, 1 bob goes towards travel. Make another example. We can't be surprised that Christmas has come around. Every year it's exactly the same month, exactly the same date.
Really? Watch out for Christmas. Black November.
Black November.
Black Friday. Here. Black Friday.
Yes.
No, nowadays they do the whole month.
The whole month.
So they're like, you don't say at we only give you 1 day.
Yeah.
Alas, Black November is here again.
There you go. Your birthday, guess what? Same day, doesn't change.
It came.
Schools opening, school fees.
Yes. The exaggeration point I'm trying to make is, you know it will come. Whether you ignore it or not, it's going to come at you. So that ulilenga alafu kakula pesa ya fees, and then now you have to go to a lender, that's on you. At some point, you just have to take responsibility for that. But let's tie it in. So if you love something, I'll say draw up that budget, stick to it. And if the budget doesn't make sense, make a realistic one. Maybe sometimes I'll be like, I know I'll say 50%, but that doesn't make sense. If the cost of fuel has gone up, we can't control that. Then increase the cost of that. It's that constant squeeze and push and pull. That's what I'd say for myself. Then how does this fit into long-term planning? So let's assume, said person, let's use 2 examples, a virtuous cycle and a vicious cycle. Somebody makes a budget, say Mama Mboga. She has a discipline. She knows I am the breadwinner. These 3 kids, if I don't focus, by the way, they're going to sleep hungry. How come? I don't know if it was NTV who ran that story. A shoe shiner who used to be up near Odeon. They worked for like 20 years and they bought a matatu. Haba na haba, 20 bob, 30 bob, 40 bob. If they can do it.
Who used to deliver water with like the punda, the cart, mkokoteni. Akagrade akanunua boda, say akona cab mbili.
Look at that.
And that's in like 10 years.
Look at that.
You know?
Yep.
You see where they stand out?
Because it doesn't happen often.
But trust him to bring us back to reality.
Those were created differently.
Is that the virtuous? You said virtuous versus?
Vicious.
Vicious.
So let's say Mama Mboga. How come these people have the discipline and they're willing to look at distractions and say no? Me, I come from a discipline. I'm like, if you want something badly enough, you will find a way to do it. I'm just saying, if you love pain, then you'll continue learning or making the mistakes until you eventually learn from it. If Mama Mboga can make it from just 20 bob, then people in corporate, people who are earning more than 20 bob, have no excuse to not make it. Look at the vicious cycle. You have access to money. I keep getting, there's an app that sent me a message and told me I think I qualify for 350K. Imagine just, well, in less than 5 minutes, you've gotten 350K into your M-Pesa. That's crazy. Think about what that can do. With kidogo self-control or lack of self-control, that can spiral so many ways. Could be randomness, spontaneous. It's Black November. Everything looks nice. And that is where bad debt starts to come in.
Is 50% off.
Exactly. I think where you see this start to go south is when people are borrowing for bad debt. There's a few who are borrowing just to eat, but that for eating is not the same as the 350. Where it starts to get vicious is, I borrow, God forbid, because you're keeping it real, maybe I borrow to gamble. See, now that one is gone. Like, it's 50-50. It's even worse if you win, because now you'll keep chasing the next win and you dig yourself into a pit.
Let's say when bet yangu Ivane.
We've had that, right?
Yeah. Many times.
Another one, because you know Kenya is a country of side hustle. Everyone has a side hustle. Umepata PO, or we spoke with Janet, she told me, this job, I'll give you this PO. before I even get the PO, I've already spent the money. Like, these are like self-sabotage habits. So I would say, know yourself, look at your weaknesses or the parts where you're more likely to trip yourself, and then just make an active plan around it. That's what I'd say.
Do you think, so I just want to, on that, on financial literacy, do you think that the financial institutions are doing enough to create literacy? So first of all, banks, we just put out big X, okay? So they don't. Well, they're trying now, to their credit. SACCOs have tried to their, but not that well in terms of, they'll tell you the power of, saving and the groups and all, but they're spending and the borrowing and that discipline, they don't. Digital lenders who now have access to many more people without seeing them, are they doing it?
No, Latif, if you're being honest, this part around access is high, but financial health is low. It's going to take more than just one party to bring this around. And we can say the customer should know better, but also let's be realistic, we're all human. If you avail the money and someone has no knowledge, the temptation is high to just pick it up.
Yeah.
I would say the challenge here is to all the players in the financial space, because we're giving out the money. You also have to take a step further. People have CSR programs. Why don't we just democratize this story?
Yeah.
You know how Mama Mbogas, they have chamas, they sit in merry-go-rounds. I like what Centonomy is doing. Like, they're trying to create awareness. I love, if you go to YouTube, there's an explosion of financial podcasts. That shows this is something that people are thinking about. Like, people are resonating with it because people are, it's hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd say is we learn very well from testimonies, if I can call them that. When somebody talks through that harrowing experience of theirs and being chotwad by auctioneers, and they don't spare the details, and they just show you how painful it was, mentally, emotionally, financially, the strain it puts on it. If that doesn't get through to you, then I think that's on you. Like, sometimes we'll say, like, people, think about it. How many of us can be vulnerable enough to say, hey guys, me, I'm struggling financially. Men, we don't even talk.
Yeah.
That's a whole other kettle of fish. At least ladies will talk in their chamas and their spaces. So I would say it's not easy, but everyone has a role to play. And what we can do, and there's some easy steps. I'd say social media is a good starting point. Everyone is doing videos. There are podcasters who are doing this thing. There's many ways of doing it. But the best way is just showcase these stories. The Boda guy who has saved up and gotten a Boda, why don't we tell that story more? We have, you're talking about digital lenders. We've got Mama Mbogas who have saved and grown pole mpaka they've outgrown the need for these loans. Now they're independent. Why don't we also tell a balanced story? Because we vilify the whole industry, but it has both sides. Sometimes, I think putting this news in front of people can show the bad side and also the good side. That people know, okay, there's another way to do this.
There's a good and bad.
So there should be then a group thing. Sorry, Jano.
No, that's okay.
I'm thinking several ways. One, now that Kenya is very fond of funds, we create a fund whose money is ring-fenced solely to awareness creation and digital literacy. Right?
We love
funds.
We love awareness
fun.
creation.
So part of the money that comes from the levies that CBK charges to the digital lenders, to banks and all, goes into this kitty. The SASRA goes into this kitty as well for that. Or the other one would be the association, the Kenya Bankers Association, put in a kitty and start a program that actually is going into digital financial literacy and collaborate with SACCOs, collaborate with the digital lenders. They have an association, the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya. Is that what it's called?
Yes, DIFSAC.
Yeah. So all those then come together. Let the industry then take the lead.
Yeah.
But it has got to be done by someone, and someone who has the muscle to do it is the private sector.
No, I think that's I hope they're listening. It's a very good idea. And I'm sure it's not the first time they've heard it. So the other question would be why they're not implementing it.
They don't trust each other.
They don't trust each other. Before we get into it, maybe you've answered it because we're almost coming to the end, how to dig oneself out of household borrowing. A few tips. I have another theory, which is if you want something really badly, don't pursue it.
Oh. Okay.
When you're desperate, take a pause.
Oh, the pause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's...
What if it's something good?
Don't, because then you want it so bad. I mean, I think if it supersedes how practical you look at it, just pause. Yes. Thank you
Take
for coming
a-
to my TED Talk.
No, I like that. If it supersedes pragmatism.
Yeah, and even if it's good, it's about, I think it's the level of how badly you want something.
Oh, that's a bad.
I think if you're like, I need this thing.
I can't live without.
I can't live without it.
I want to start this biashara, Janet. Like every bone in my body is saying it's time to leave employment and start biashara.
No.
Really?
For me, it's especially
Time will go.
No. I think it's especially, when did I have this realization? That's not bad. But I think if it's all that takes over your thought process, your mind, your body, your soul, again, it could be a business, a person, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I just think when you're
So like
caught
take
up,
a break
and
first
just center yourself.
Center
If
yourself.
you feel like you
Channels
can't
that.
live without it, if you feel like you can't live without, I say that's when you should not pursue. That's just a theory. Yeah.
The question again.
The question was, I feel like I was supposed to link that to a
It's a TED
question.
Talk.
It was a TED
No,
Talk.
that was a good TED Talk. We actually have learned a lot from you, Janet. Thank you very much. We shall subscribe.
Yes, to your YouTube channel. And like
Good one.
No, it was now somebody is household borrowing, whether they're together, whether they're not, whether they're talking, but they're in the habit.
Yes.
How do they now begin to just
get
bring
out.
themselves
To get
out of
out.
it? Practical steps, yeah.
I love that.
Get out of the household.
you might get out of the household, but will the household leave you?
Oh, wow.
You can leave the household.
The
will
gems,
the household leave you?
because it'll follow you.
It will follow you. Yeah.
Actually, that's the thing. If you leave the household and you haven't fixed the problem, the problem
household
lives
is
with you. Yes. Let me react to what you said. I think that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
We've got look at some of the companies that have had the biggest impact on CSR. Wings to fly. If corporates decide, or like you say, DFSAC, Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya, if they unite and they just make a commitment, they know all the right people to call on. They can get momentum and start to make a meaningful difference. It will take more than one person. So Janet, to your point, how do you get out of it? So imagine you're in that space where you're stuck. You're like, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. You're not sleeping because X is calling you. You can't go home. The missus is waiting for you to explain why her curtains have been beboed by the auctioneer. Let's start from the beginning. First things first, we'll say is, if you need something, I'll say just give it time. There's this rule where they say, give yourself 1 month. If you still want something badly enough, then go for it. At least it's a way for self-control to temper if you're an impulse spender. Just to put some brakes and see if you really want it. Let's talk about if you have a spouse. Talk it out, because you're in this together. For better or for worse, they said, right? At least let your person know what you're up to if your finances are together, because you guys are embroiled in it. The other thing I'll say is, after all is said and done, what are the basics? Food, shelter, and clothing. So let's assume kimeumana, you owe more than you have. Make sure you have food in your stomach, the lights are on, and you have transportation. At least you have ways to get yourself to a hustle. Take care of that first. Now, everything else that remains, we've got debt. If you're at risk of defaulting, what most people tend to do, you just lenga, you keep quiet, you're like, siotanipigia, mtadu. It was unsecured after all, amjui mali naishi. But then you're listed negatively in CRB, and the bank, when you go to get that loan, will tell you, oh, you have defaulted on this, so we can't give you this loan. Excuse me. Or worse still, because you defaulted, you're a risky borrower, so now you'll pay more interest. So you see, it comes back to bite you. So if it was for that, I would say, if you're at risk of defaulting, reach out to the lender. Most of them will agree to a payment plan.
Right.
Like you're saying.
If it's a legit lender.
It's a legit lender, because after all, you'd rather be paid over 3 months than not be paid altogether. Then hopefully you get an alignment to the lenders. For myself, I would say list all your debts from the smallest to the largest, and then just start ticking them off one by one. Okay. Somebody would say you go with the one that has the highest interest rate first. But interest rate is a math problem, and this is not a math problem, it's an emotional problem. When you take out that the smallest loan first, it gives you that sense of, if I can do it for 10 bob, because we're emotional people. If I can do it with 500, I can do it with 1,000. Then what you used to lipa for that 500, just add it onto the next one. It's pole pole. It will take time to get out of it.
I think they call it like eating your frog fast or something. Where, no, that's not the same as eating your frog fast. But just the idea that you do one small thing, it gives you the confidence that you can do the next thing.
You deal with an elephant.
Yes. You just start with like a small bite, and eventually you'll eat the elephant. I wanted to ask a question of
about a minute,
interest rates as we close. the way our financial system works, if you are a high-risk borrower, you've defaulted in the past or had late repayments, that your interest rates will go up. In tandem, if you are a good borrower who pays on time, I don't think the interest rates go down commensurately, if that makes sense. Is that true? And then if so, then what is the incentive for me being a good borrower and paying on time? You know, if you're not going to give me better rates when I come next time.
What's the incentive,
Love that question. It's practical. We call it risk-based pricing. So that means if you borrow on time and you repay on time, actually, well, there's no borrowing on time. If you repay on time, it shows people, it signals that you're credit worthy.
Yeah.
So what that tends to do is the amounts of money you can access increase. So your loan limits, you would say, go up. And then on the other side, to reward you, because if this is your business, this is a customer you want to keep and to grow, they reward you with giving you lower interest. So this is why we say, if the lender you're going to, you've been paying on time, but they're not seeing any difference, maybe you need to look elsewhere. Because, I mean, there are people who do this. There are lenders that do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll end it there. Thank you, Stephen. Very pragmatic, helpful.
On the flip side,
yes, on the flip side. No, go ahead.
No, that's bad advice. Never mind. I was
You thought about it.
It was just an intrusive thought. I was like, okay, if you defaulted somewhere, or, should you also just go somewhere else and start? But that's where you have a credit reference.
Yeah. It's good to say it out loud. There's somebody somewhere thinking exactly that. Thank you so much. We have Mwikali, right? That's what Philo said. Who's coming up next on Your World? Toxicity in the family. Good luck, guys. When family feels like a battlefield.
Today's just households.
I told you,
Toxicity, borrowing.
Because Your World always just go there with the topics. That's coming up at the top of the hour. Then we have Vibe Shift with Claudia Naisabwa and Brian Aseli on Nation FM. And then you'll have Eric Latif tonight on the last word. Yes. Wow.
Learning Tuesday.
So join him from 9:30. Find out more about that. But from me, Janet Bogwa, Mariam Bishar, Eric Latif, thank you for staying with Fixing the Nation. See you again tomorrow at 6 a.m.